Hello, everybody. Andrew Taylor here. Today we have Gary Michels in with us. Gary, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
This is going to be a special treat. Um, Gary has a extensive background in sales, and we were talking, and he just gave me a copy of his book, which I'm excited to read. But one of the first sales books I read was called "Take the Stairs," and that was one of your friends that wrote that book, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was just I was like, "Oh, wow, that's crazy," because that book helped me so much, and even now when I'm, like, in the airport, I still don't take the escalator. I'll, like, make sure to walk up the stairs.
It's funny.
Um, so you've done Hall of Fame 2 times, and then you just did it again for this year for the 3rd time.
Correct.
So I'm just excited to learn a little bit about your background, what brought you to life insurance, your experience, and then the goal here is, like, there's a ton of people struggling in this industry like I did, maybe like you did.
Yep.
And how do we get them over the hump? How do we get them to where they want to be? So the goal today is hopefully somebody's going to actually, I know somebody will take this information and it can change their business for them.
For sure.
So,
For sure. So, well, do I just want me to start from?
yeah.
Okay. So, when I was in college, I sold books door to door. I don't know if you ever know anybody that did that. Southwestern kids. A lot of people know about the kids selling books door to
Yeah,
door.
dude, I bought $700 worth of books like last year from a dude at my door.
I have not only bought the books, I sold the books. I've had college kids stay at my house in the summertime. I just think it's one of the very, very, very best ways for someone at that young age to learn work ethic, working 88 hours a week, selling door to door. If you can sell something door to door, obviously you can kill it, right? So, anyways, to make a long story short, I've worked for the same company for 42 years, the same parent company, the
Yeah.
Southwestern family of companies.
Let's talk about that company for people
Okay.
who don't know. They're a massive company, right?
They are. There's over 20 companies. The parent company started in the 1860s.
Selling books.
No, yes, they sold Bibles to the Confederate troops, believe it or not. Okay, they were the very first company in the Direct Sellers Association. So if you're ever working with a company that sells, there's a little emblem that says we're members of the Direct Sellers Association. Southwestern was the very first company in the Direct Sellers Association. And then over the years, what's happened is people have been successful selling books, and the parent company, corporation, says, gosh, we'd like to help you start a company. And I've been blessed to now been with the company all these years, but I've done 3 different startups in that time period.
So they started off selling books, and how big are they?
What do you mean, how big? Like
Like, how big is the company now?
over $100 million.
So they're a big company.
Huge.
And what they did basically, this is my understanding, tell me if I'm wrong. So they train kids in college to sell books door to door.
Yeah.
And then these people become insanely good salespeople like you. And then they can plant them in another business of theirs that could be like not selling books, but they could build a sales team in another business.
Yes.
So they're building up leaders from selling books.
Yep. And it's everything from real estate to insurance to discount cards to cookie dough to network marketing, all different types of sales type products.
Yeah, this dude showed up at my house and they had like a van full of kids. They like parked and they all got off and they all hit the neighborhood. And I asked him like a million questions. And then I tried to get him to get his license, but
Right.
I don't think he ever passed his exam.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Bummer.
He was good though, dude. He was really good. Okay, so you started doing that. Now you got into life insurance. What got you into the insurance industry?
It's really interesting. So, the last thing I did before this since 2006, and I've been doing this for 4 years now, was speaking, training, motivating. So I did school fundraising for 19 years. So school fundraising, if you've ever seen the kids that sell the wrapping paper and the cookie dough and the chocolate bars, I did that, was very blessed out of about 500 people. I'd be the top sales guy in the company several years in a row. But that's where I was on stage all the time. That's where I was speaking. And people would come up and say, Gary, you should start a speaking and training company. You should start motivating and inspiring because you're doing that here. And so I went to my parent company and said, I'm going to go start a speaking and training company and write a book. The book right there. And I said, well, we'd like to back you to build one of the best sales training and coaching and training companies in the world. And that's where it started. And a lot of my clients over the years were people in insurance. Okay. I mean, gosh, we trained from State Farm, Farmers, Aflac. God, I couldn't tell you. National Life, not National Life Group, but New York Life.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, trained New York Life. And I never thought that I'd be selling it. I never thought it. And then got a phone call one day from our chairman, and he said he was working with integrity marketing to get into the insurance business. And one thing led to another, and we started selling insurance. And I lived in San Jose at the time. And at the time, and this is 4 years ago, we didn't have as many products as we have now. And there was more ability to get products in Nevada. And I'd been coming here speaking for years. And I said, now's the time to make the switch. And we moved here to Las Vegas.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's sweet, man. All right, so I want to get into this. And you can tell me if you don't agree.
Sure.
But I think anybody, well, you can't say anybody, but I think if you have good intentions and you work hard, that you could figure out sales. And a lot of people, I think, spend a lot of time being success zombies and not just going out there and just getting beat up. Do you train on anything like that? Do you agree with that? Is that your experience?
That anybody can become a good salesperson?
If they just go through the reps.
Absolutely.
You think that?
I do. I believe that they have to, I think there's skill and will. Okay. And I absolutely believe that you can have the skill with no will.
Mm-hmm. I see that all the time.
All the time. Okay. But if you have the will, I can teach anybody skill. If they're willing to put the time in, and that's the challenge that I find often as I've been building this over the last 4 years is finding the people that will put the work in, because it's the work. It's absolutely the work. And those that are fumbling across business. You know what I mean? Even the person that sucks, if you make enough dials and you make enough contacts and you come to at least enough of the meetings and the weekly meetings and watch the podcast and come to convention, you do the things you're supposed to do in this business.
You'll make some money.
You will make some money. Yeah. Absolutely.
So I always said 20% of people are going to buy probably from anybody. 20% of people are going to tell everybody to pound sand.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 60% is where you can increase your sales dramatically if you get good at all the different sales tips.
Right.
You know? All right. So you also have the thing, I want to get into the mindset stuff that you know.
Sure.
You told a story about Buffalo.
Ah, yes.
And this is part of your training that you've done for a lot of big companies. Can you tell everybody that story?
Absolutely. So it's kind of a funny story. When you're a speaker, stuff falls out of your mouth. And so I was speaking at the Fairmont Hotel in San Jose, and I was talking about confidence.
Mm-hmm.
And I really believe that there's two main emotions that people experience. You tell me if you agree with this, okay? One, fear, and one, confidence. There's a lot of other emotions, but if you think about it, those are the two biggest emotions. And sometimes they're very outward. People can see them, but sometimes they're deep in your core. And a lot of it comes from your childhood. A lot of it comes from the way you were raised and whether you're a risk taker, not risk taker, and just all of that, okay?
Yeah.
But there's different levels of fear and confidence. And there's a lot of studies that show that the only difference between fear and confidence is your level of preparation, period. Because you could literally put somebody in a room for 100 days that doesn't know anything about anything, and you could teach them to be an amazing golfer. You could teach them to be an amazing salesperson. I know, I wasn't prepared to take a life insurance exam. I didn't know jack about it except to teach people how to sell, but I didn't know anything about insurance. And I knew I had to do 52 hours to get my health and life license in 3 days, because they said, oh, you got to take your test on this day. Okay. I put that time in 52 hours and passed the test.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I believe that's the same thing in anything that we do, is that your level of confidence comes from your level of preparation. So I was talking about how confidence is sexy and fear is unattractive. And, so I was starting to tell this story, and I was talking about a friend of mine, Gary, who's also Gary. And I said, Gary said, I'm going to start dating soon again, Gary. I've been single for a long time. And I'm kind of nervous. And I said, hey, Gary, then you better kind of turn that up a little bit, because girls aren't going to go, ooh, look at that nervous guy. I want to date that guy. That's not going to happen, right? And you want to be confident. And he agreed. And so I was telling this story, and I said, so you guys all, I want to tell you about this story. It's called the buffalo mentality. And buffalo are the only herd animal in the world that when there's a storm, they go right into the storm. So cows and horses and sheep, none of them go into the storm. They actually run away from the storm. Okay. They think they can outrun the storm. Okay. But buffalo go right into it for two reasons. One is there's the fresh grass and the fresh feed on the other side of the storm. And also they're the thick skin, and that's how they were made by God. And so really what we all want to do is we all want to be sexy buffaloes. Okay. And the audience just started rolling. And when you're speaking and people are laughing at your jokes, it kind of, it
Makes you better.
It does. It makes you kind of get on a roll. It loosens you up, etc. And confidence. It comes back to confidence again.
Yeah.
And, but what was interesting about it was that after I got off like the stage, afterwards, people were coming up, asking me to sign the book and do all the thing. And I love that sexy buffalo thing. That's so cool. You got to market that, dude. That's awesome. And so the next day I'm calling up corporate, and I'm saying to our marketing team, I'd like to market that sexy buffalo. And she goes, hang on a second, Gary. And she goes, click, 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 click. Because we got a problem. I go, what's that? Sexy buffalo. Pornography, Buffalo, New York. Can't do it. And
sexybuffalo.com.
Yeah. All of it was all about pornography and stuff like that. So, but since then, and this is 10 years ago. No, probably 8 years ago. 8 years ago. Since then, T-shirts have been made. People send me pictures of their buffaloes on their desk. I have a buffalo on my desk. It's like it's a reminder all the time about just being confident and
going into the storm.
Going into the storm.
Yeah. So that reminds me kind of this. So there's a what I would notice is I would be scared to call, and then once I did, it would go away. Or I would be scared to go in appointments because of rejection and looking stupid. But once I would do it, that would eventually go away. And then my friend was telling me, back in the day, you got horse and buggies, and if a car would drive up behind one of them and the car would backfire, the horse would freak out and basically push the buggy into traffic, and you could die. So what he was saying is what they did is they would shoot a gun by the horse over and over and over and over and over again until these loud noises no longer bothered them.
Wow.
And then so what he was saying is if something's bothering you or you're scared of something, just do it a lot.
Yeah.
And eventually that will go away. So it could be sales training. It could be dialing. It could be running appointments. It could be whatever. But if you're scared of spiders, if you're around spiders all the time, you probably won't be scared anymore.
And doing it around other people too. So you're not doing it alone.
Yeah.
Okay. And not being, well, it's easier said than done, but not being fearful of what other people think about you. That's the biggest thing. And going deeper, why do I worry what other people think about me? And when you go deep and you ask yourself that question, it's almost like, I don't know, that's stupid.
Yeah.
Right? Like we have that fear of other people, but then we think about, I don't know, I guess I don't really care. I got my friends, I got my family, but somehow
they're not thinking about you anyways.
Right. That's the crazy thing is we think they're thinking about us all the time, but they're not. right? Like, who really, really cares about your very, very close family? Other people, you're a thought in their mind for a second.
And then it goes away.
That's right.
Yeah.
But we spend hours consumed on what people think about us, and that's the thing I'm always kind of talking to my agents about is get on live dial and turn on that camera and do it. Okay, like I was watching a podcast this morning, a 2-year-old podcast that Grady was doing with Bree.
Yeah.
And it was funny because, she says, I'll just text him, turn on your damn camera. Like, that's because when you're breaking through that, like you're saying, just do it. It gets easier and easier and easier about it. And the only way you're going to get better, and I always talk to my agents about this, is that if you do it and you allow somebody to give you some coaching, because if you don't know what you don't know, right? And the only way you're going to get that coaching is if you put yourself in front of other people,
Yeah, I love that. That's huge. All right, so Buffalo mentality, run into the storm. If you got a crazy day ahead of you, just get to work, go dial. How would you relate that to selling life insurance?
Like about just going to the storm.
Yeah.
First of all, I was talking about this morning. So we do every morning at 6:30 Pacific, 9:30 Eastern. We've been doing this for about 3 months now. We do a morning launch, and we get anywhere between 15 and 30 agents that hop on there. And we were talking about this morning about it's Thanksgiving week, or whether it's Thanksgiving week, or whether it's Christmas week coming up, or whether it's New Year's, whatever the holiday is. People tend to, in most businesses, they kind of slow down. They kind of, it's the holidays, right? And I think the first part about going right into the storm is absolutely 100% committing to the hours that you're going to work and looking at it, like looking at the whole picture. Like, for example, if you're going to take Thanksgiving off and you're going to take Friday off or do something for family, what do you do in the week before and the week after? What extra hours are you putting in so that you're still averaging out those same hours that you need to put into this business to accomplish your goals? And I think a lot of people do not reverse engineer and have in writing what their goals are.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone said, too many people in our business, and tell me you think I'm wrong on this, they go into the business and I just want to do good, but they don't say I want to make $100,000, or I want to put $150,000 in my bank, or I want to hit Hall of Fame, but they don't tell you how they're going to get to Hall of Fame. They haven't figured it out that I'm going to work 50 weeks out of 52 weeks. I got to do this much per week. They haven't done that. And so I think the reason people don't go into the storm is they don't really know what it is to hit that storm. You know what I mean? Both hours wise and activity wise. And I think that's where a lot of people fall short.
Got it. What else? What other mindset stuff, dude? Like, what if someone's just lacking confidence big time? What advice do you have for them?
Okay.
What if they don't have support from their significant other?
Yeah.
What if they...
Well, input equals output, first of all. Okay, what I mean by that is that's never going to change unless what you're reading, people you're hanging around with, where you're going, like you should be listening to at least, for every 8 hours you work, there should be a half hour to 1 hour of what you're putting into your mind. And it won't change unless you can, until continually something new is going into your mind. You keep doing what you always done, you're going to always got. If you don't have a supportive spouse or a supportive partner, that's the only way you're going to get the confidence to get through that, is to be able to have that crucial conversation. Great book, by the way, Crucial Conversation. All right.
Yeah. Or get. Yeah. I mean, I always say or get paid.
Yeah.
Like, go get a commission check, and all of a sudden they'll be like, "Oh, that works. Can you do that more?"
Yeah, absolutely. But still, even if you have a conversation with people that aren't supporting you, and you're asking for permission, as opposed to getting, "Hey, I just want you to know what I'm doing, and I'm not asking for your permission. I'm asking for your support and your understanding." That's a whole different confidence in the way that you're talking to people about it.
Yeah.
Right. And you're right. A nice commission check, or all of a sudden your name on the leaderboard or things like that your spouse or your partner can see and go, oh, wow, he's doing better. She's doing better. That's huge.
Legit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love that. Any other mindset stuff like waking up early? Now,
Morning routine.
people watching this are going to be like, this is what, I need to know what to say when I call, but you don't unless you can get these things dialed in.
I think morning routine, we hear it a lot from people. It's been a big thing I've been working on personally. And whatever that morning routine looks like for you, for mine, it's up at 4:20 in the morning. And it's 10 minutes early on of 10-10 visualizations. And if you don't know what 10-10 visualizations are out there, I've talked about it before on some other podcasts and whatnot, but it's 10 things that you're grateful for and 10 things that you want and will have. And you write them on a piece of paper. And you spend almost 10 minutes in meditation. So it could be that you're get out of bed, go to the bathroom, and go to another room. It could be that you're up and then you're going on a run and you're reading doing it out. Yeah, but it's somewhere in the first hour of your day to get your mind into the right frame of mind. But it's 10 minutes of reading them back and forth, because the reason is you can't be negative and grateful at the same time. And you're starting your day with that, and your 10 things you want and will have should have a date tied to them. So a want and will have Hall of Fame and a date you want it by. Okay, what's going to happen is you're either going to quit reading your 10-10 visualizations.
So they're the same every day, though.
Every day, but you can switch them up every now and then, but they're the same every day. And after a while, you get to memorize them and stuff like that. And
I like that.
they're similar to your affirmations. And so.
Hold on, go back. It's
okay.
10 things you're grateful for.
10 things you're grateful for, and 10 things you want and will have.
Want and will have.
Right, and by when.
Okay.
So if you want a new car, don't just say you want a new car. I want this, and I want it by January 1st, 2025. What is,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Now there's, and so you're either going to put, our bodies will not let us continue to go day after day after day and read it, not eventually put action into it, or you'll quit reading the affirmation. The whole idea with the 10-10 visualizations is to start your day with it, of 10 minutes of just being no distractions.
Now, is that the meditation is doing that? Mm-hmm. So the meditation is repeating these things
over and over and back and forth
for 10 minutes.
10 minutes. Crazy. And then some sort of spirituality. Everybody has different spirituality. I don't read directly out of the Bible, but I have different readings and different things that I do, which are just chapters and verses in the Bible, and that have a message with it. And I like to do one a day, just to kind of stay spirituality. I heard a podcast the other day from Ed Milet that I thought was awesome, and it really something that I want to do more of. And he talks about every single day faith, and it's not just faith in the morning, but it's faith all day. Okay, it's faith all day, because faith all day is doing the right thing all the time, not just in the morning. It's not just going to church on Sunday. But if you're in faith all the time, you're putting the hours in. That's the answer to the other stuff. If you're in faith all the time and you're in servant-minded all the time and you're here to protect your family and truly protect your clients, that's a big part of getting out of your confidence and getting out of your way. Because if you're in integrity, you're going to break through that. So that's a big thing right there. Faith. The second one is intention, and that's something I'm always talking about and trying to stay on top of it myself. Like, what's your intention? Because we all kind of at a certain level of where we're at. We're either at 100% at certain points in our life, and sometimes we're down. But if you're down, the intention to be up higher again is going to move you back up. Okay. And where is our intention? So someone that knows they're not confident, knows that they have a challenge with that. If you're living in that space of faith and intentions to be there, which is going to cause you to do the right things, which is that 10-10 visualization thing again in the morning, and affirmations during the day, cause you to. And third, and this is a big one that I've always believed in, and it's huge, is who you're hanging around in. Proximity. Tony Robbins calls it proximity, right? And I'm a big Tony Robbins fan. That's where I got into speaking several years ago. I spoke on the same stage with him, and I go, I want to do what he does someday. And to this day, I just got back from Business Mastery, and I believe in a lot of his things.
Oh, you did go to that?
I did. I told you.
Where was that at? Florida, right?
Yeah. I didn't only go to Business Mastery 1. I went through Business Mastery 2, and now a whole year of it, of like like living it. And so to me, it's taking life insurance and still doing everything I'm doing in life insurance, but I'm adding one layer on top of it of trying to be a better person myself.
So
Okay.
how good was it?
Badass. I mean, it was freaking good. I'd recommend it to anybody. There's so many good Tony Robbins events, but the highest level pretty much of all of them is business mastery. It's 5 days of just intense work with like-minded
How
people.
much of the work is on yourself and not on business?
About 50-50. But a lot of it's
That's
business. A lot of it's business though, because it is a lot of stuff about looking at your numbers and planning and your time, and a lot of it's on business. But if you're not right, okay, it's not. If you're not right, you're not going to get the maximum. And if your confidence isn't right, so it all kind of ties together, right?
Yeah.
It's so much.
Yeah, if you're not right, everything else is not right.
No.
I want to maybe I should get Nicole that for Christmas.
I'm staying with it.
That'd be good.
Yeah, but not just. I think you need to be. I've been blessed working with Sean, hanging out with you more. I want to be with people that are kick ass and being successful. Okay,
yeah, it makes you better.
It makes you better. It just does.
It's contagious.
It is. It absolutely is. So that was that 10-10 visualization things, and then keeping it going during the day with affirmations. People talk about it, but I don't think people do it. Oh yeah, I got to have affirmations. But who really every couple hours like gets in there and does it? Because life will hit us with all different things, and then we fall off, and you got to get back on the horse and stuff again. So
yeah. What advice do you have someone that's been knocked around pretty bad recently? Life just keeps coming.
I honestly, some sort of either a weekend getaway or a course, something that's going to really kick your ass. Okay. And I also feel like when a person's been kicked around a lot of it is that they can't at that point in their life, they can't manage it themselves. Right. They're at a point where I'm just not breaking through on my own. So it's your willingness to be held accountable by somebody other than yourself. And so it's either to an event that's going to go give you that information, or to a person, and that could be in some sort of coaching program, whatever it is,
whatever you're lacking.
Mm-hmm.
Or join one of our teams, dude, because you kind of get, like, if someone works with you, they get all this for free.
That's what I tell people all the time, and I want to be humble about it, because when I was at Southwestern Consulting, and I'm still coaching and training a little bit, but not as much as I used to. Like I was charging $2,500 to $5,000 a month on some of my coaching clients just to talk to me, and I would say to people, on my team right now, I go, you guys are crazy, and I don't mean this in a humble way, but you're getting a coach, and I'm not charging you. Like lean in.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Some people do, but a lot of people are fearful of it. And I go, my God, you got a gift here, dude.
Yeah. I always used to say, okay, as a young adult, where do you go to meet people? You can go to the bar. Let's say you're out of college. You go to the bar scene. You go to church. Where else?
Work.
Or work.
Or networking events too.
Okay, so I would always say, like, this industry changed my life because it threw me in this environment of people who were positive, always trying to get better, training me on things that, like, I would never have experienced before, accountability. So take all the money out of it and just do that. And then add in, okay, it has the potential for me to also make a good living.
Mm-hmm.
Like, dude, it's a home run if you plug into it. But if you don't, it makes it much harder. And we've talked about this on a lot of calls. So if you're by yourself, this can be very, very lonely. And I don't even know if I would do it. But if you can plug into a team where everybody's helping each other, it could be so much fun.
I know. And I have people sometimes that I'll meet, like at a convention or one of our, like in Miami, a couple people came up to me and they go, God, you talked about that morning thing. We don't do that on our team. And you know what I said to them? I said, you haven't been persistent enough to find out where you can get that done rather than we don't do that on our team.
Yeah.
Because not every single person is going to be recruited by a person that's driven to the point to have it all built up and set up. And everybody starts at different levels. Like some people start and they recruit a person the first day. You can't have the whole infrastructure set up to have all that support right away. So if you're listening to this podcast, the best thing that you can do is pick up the phone and, go, who can help me? Who can support me? Because like Andrew, you're in a perfect example. Like I wasn't on your team when I first reached out to you. Okay. I lived here in Vegas and I was actually I'm still a little bit, sometimes I'm getting better now. Like I don't want to ask things for people that aren't in my upline.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I'm feeling, and tell me if you feel this, and now I'm here 4 years now and I'm a lot more confident in what's going on and everything. We really have built a family culture more.
For sure.
I really believe that, Stephen Yee become a friend of mine. He's not my upline. Trey Honeycutt, all of it. I mean, so I can go on and on with people that have helped me out. And we have that all over this country with relationships with people that are not in our upline. And I just want to encourage everybody on here that if you're not where you want to be, don't blame it on your upline. Okay. Pick up the phone, go watch YouTube videos every day. That's right at your fingertips. Go Family First Life and start watching. Who do you like? And gosh, with technology today, you could find them on LinkedIn or Google them and reach out to them. I guarantee you they will pick up the phone.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's going to be a jerk to you. It's crazy.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I love that. Okay, so let's talk about the opportunity of selling life insurance. So you've seen a lot of sales jobs. What are some of the positive and negative things about selling life insurance?
Well, positive is everybody needs it. Everybody needs it, right? And
negative is everyone's going to use it.
Right. And I also feel like the more that I'm learning the business, there's so many more tools of what we have that they're underinsured and not using the insurance that they have to their capability. One of the statistics that I heard recently is that 70% of Americans will need some sort of accelerated death benefit, okay, by 70 years old.
That's scary.
70% will need some sort of an accelerated death benefit by 70 years old. And gosh, if we have them in an IUL or even a whole life they've had for a while that has the cash value, they're going to be able to use it. And I want to share, guys, that my wife, and some people know, unfortunately, she has stage 4 breast cancer, and she's maintaining. She's doing well. She's on medications that have stopped the growth of it, and she's doing well. But she got to a point because of the medication, she had to go on permanent disability. And if you guys know anything about disability, you typically go on it for 6 months for, temporary disability until your company says you can't be on temporary disability anymore. You have to go on permanent disability. When you're on permanent disability, some companies totally cut you off. She was fortunate in her case of getting half of what the amount would be. But what it's done is, because of the policies that she had, she is getting as much, if not more, than she was getting working before, because the money is distributed tax-free. And there's no games. They started it right away, where sometimes if people have to go on disability, there's a year or 2 year waiting period and different things that go on. We have such a gift to offer to people prior to dying too. And I think that people don't share that enough. So that's a big thing. I think it's been helpful for me. I feel so good when I'm sharing that with people that we can help you.
You're living it too.
I'm living it, and it's personal for me. But also, like, going to funerals. I've had 16 death claims, and I've only done this 4 years. Like, I've had quite a few, and some of you have experienced a funeral, some of you haven't. But there's nothing like going to a funeral and handing somebody a check, or like, I remember one here in Boulder City that I had just insured them, and it was not good. They passed about a year later. So they were past the contestability period, but it just seemed like yesterday. And he wanted me to come to the funeral. And I was under the impression that there was going to be a lot of people there. And there were 4 people there. I was one of them because it was important to his partner that he felt I was a big part of their life. Just because we had 2 or 3 conversations and we cut it up and joked on the phone, it built like a friendship, almost like a friendship relationship, even though it's just selling a life insurance
Mm-hmm.
policy. And how like when I pulled up, they were waiting for me outside, just and like gave me like just like it's just we make such a difference,
Yeah.
and so there's a lot of good things there, and the money. I mean, where else, So before I did this, like I said, I was a speaker and trainer with Southwestern Consulting. One of my biggest client base was the franchise business. Okay, and then the franchise business, we were working from anywhere from helping McDonald's to be more efficient. Okay, like at what they're saying at the stand, to paint stores, to I can go on and on with all different kind of franchises, from senior care, assisted living, and an average franchise, to buy a franchise, I mean, is $300,000. Okay, the lowest cost of a franchise is $50,000, and you can spend $2 million for a gas station. Like it's crazy what a franchise costs. And we get into this business for $300-$400 in licensing fees.
Yeah.
Okay, and most people don't spend $1,000 on their first set of leads. Most might spend only $400 or $500. Although I would like people to spend $1,000 or $1,500 and keep going up, because the more you spend on leads, the more you're going to make, and the better investment it is. But you can get in this for $1,000. Okay, and it's like it sometimes I think that's not, people don't get that much. Like what a gift we have that we can go invest $1,000 and in a month sell one policy and get our money back, that often people will work in a business for 3 years to get their money back.
Dude,
It's
I
crazy.
always say this. You want
Yeah.
to hear something crazy?
Yeah.
So our team issued, I think like 18 million last month.
Wow.
But check this out. When I started, I was working at the grocery store and I invested $500 in leads. Now, what built the company was reinvesting the profits. So I never put more than that original $500 back. Like I sold and I reinvested some of the profits, but technically it all started from $500. Think about how insane that is. So no debt, no crazy loans, no no student debt, no school loans. I just got a license, invested in some leads, went and sold a few policies, and then kept some of the money for me, but reinvested some of the money. Is that nuts?
Yeah. I mean, that's what's so great about this business.
Yeah.
That's what's so great. I mean, and the opportunities that we're seeing more and more now with the IULs and annuities, and the bigger policies that are staying on the books better with the persistency rate. Oh my gosh.
IULs. Are you using National Life Group?
I am.
Yeah.
Mostly not. I've done a couple on F&G, but almost everyone. I first was attracted to them by their illustrations. Badass. I mean, just when you show the illustration to somebody, but their customer service is amazing. This morning, I on Saturday, I had a guy that says, I want to insure my wife. She's 32. I want her to pay for 23 more years into it. He has health issues. So he wanted her to stop paying at 55. He'll be 60, and said exactly what how he wanted it structured. And then he had 3 children, a 1-year-old, a 4-year-old, and a 5-year-old, and told me exactly what they wanted to spend. And I was having a little bit of it was tough with the young ones, figuring out the best way to structure it to get the best value for them. If they stop paying in 30 years, paying 40 years, is it going to be lifetime benefits? So I called their customer service, and I said,
they did it.
Not only that, because I'm a firm believer, teach someone how to fish, okay? Teach them how to do it, okay? Then you're going to be able to do it forever. They did it with me. She made sure before I got off the phone, like, that I knew how to do it. We saved it. We went back again. It was the support that we get to go into our situations on those is just, it's second to none.
Yeah.
It's second to none.
And they have good financial backing or strong financial backing. They had somebody on the Titanic.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, dude, they paid a death claim on someone on the Titanic.
I know. I said,
Like when you tell people that,
yeah.
they're like, oh, they've been around,
Yeah. Yeah.
you know? So National Life Group, awesome. 100, how old are they? How many years? 100 and something years old?
Yeah. Like they're, they're
150?
they're the oldest company, aren't they? The oldest insurance company right now doing insurance in the United States.
Yeah,
Yeah.
150. If someone wants to do a policy on their kids, we did a whole podcast with National Life Group in here on my kids, on the policies I wrote on my kids with illustrations up, what it's going to do, what it looks like, everything.
It was crazy with their 1-year-old, Andrew. Their 1-year-old, if they put in $585 a month for 30 years, not forever, for 30 years, at 65, it's $1.1 million a year in income. And that's only using their 6.44 illustration rate. But if they use the pace setter rate that's been at 15%, over the last 15 years, that could potentially be like over $2 million a year because they put in $600 a month for 30 years. I mean, you're basically taking care of your kids' retirement right now. And you don't even necessarily have to tell them, so they don't have to have a lazy life where they're not working.
Yeah.
But you're really taking care of them.
Yeah. That's huge.
Yeah.
All right. What type of leads do you use?
Right now, 2 different types of leads. And it's changed over time. So for my first 2 years, I wrote 240 my first year, all gold leads in the ILC.
So Integrity Lead Center, gold leads, how much do those cost?
$4 each. Used to get them at $3 with the discount.
Okay.
And I wrote driving around town here in Vegas, 240. And then my second year, I wrote 440 off those same leads.
Jeez, dude.
Okay, off the gold leads. And that was going around, just driving around, right?
Yeah,
and then we all kind of switched about 2 years ago, okay? Switched to virtual. I did 420 last year, but I worked 9 months. Part of it is I got married, and then part of it, Simone got sick. And so to me, I felt like it was still growth because I did it in 9 months, and but I switched my leads because I wanted to start writing bigger policies and I wanted to move more to the mortgage. So I played with Leads for Life, and a lot of the guys on my team are using Leads for Life. I've done quite a bit of leads with beneficiaries, but my favorites, and still are to this day, is Ethos Leads. Okay.
In Integrity Lead Center.
In Integrity Lead Center.
Everybody loves those leads.
I love those leads. Okay. And doesn't matter whether they're 18 or 8. If they're out of whether the new ones, which are the 0 to 2 weeks, or the 2 weeks to 4 weeks, the aged ones, I'll pay 18 for it because they're such good.
Let's talk about what it is. Can you tell everybody what an Ethos lead is?
Yeah. So an Ethos abandoned cart lead is a lead where someone had gone in and were looking for insurance and actually done the quote and the whole thing and then abandoned their search. And so we're getting all their information in there, except beneficiary. Sometimes they'll have beneficiary lists in there. They're fresh, but these people, they remember talking to you. They were about to buy it. They were in there doing it. And then my approach is that I'm the local field underwriter. I noticed that that you were recently on the Ethos platform, a technology platform for life insurance, and you abandoned your search for some reason, and all of those cases are dispatched to our office so you can speak to a live agent. I've been the person that's been assigned to your case. I see you're born, name, go right into it. And more often than not, they'll talk to you. I mean, Ethos leads are just so good. And what I like about them is their age, Andrew, is more the 30 to 55.
Mm-hmm.
So they're perfect candidates for the IUL or a CBO. I love CBO or IUL. I go back and forth between them. More IUL now, but I've done quite a bit of CBO with America. Okay, and I position that if you're a person that has no self-discipline and you think you're going to take the cash value out of your IUL, we should get you into a CBO. And the reason is I had a CBO when I was 31 years old. I threw a ton of money in. My dad used to say, throw as much money into good investments and this and that. So I threw a ton of money in through work into a CBO. And then when I was 56, when we moved here to Vegas, I got a huge check, got all the money back. So I talked to
Tell everybody what a CBO is because they might not know.
Yeah, CBOs stands for cashback offer. And the way it works, the main company we use now is Americo, and they do 20, 25, or 30 years. And at the end of that period, okay, if you haven't died, which most of us want to live, you get all your money back, tax free. So people that want certainty, people that know they don't want to be able to touch it or all those years and want to get a big fat check, I think it works great, amazing for a person that's in their 40s and they want a big fat chunk of change when they're 65 or 60 when they want to retire, and they know what they're going to get to have that transition cushion from going from having a paid job to now on retirement. I think CBOs are great.
Dude, you want to know my CBO close?
What's that?
Everything I do has to be super simple. Like, it's the only way I work.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay. I'd present it to the client, and I'd say, okay, so the way this is going to work is if you die, your wife is going to get paid. Okay? If you live, you're going to get paid all your money back. And if you get this, then I'm going to get paid.
I love that. So everybody's a win-win.
So everybody's getting paid on this plan. And dude, people would love it.
Did you offer one or the other? Or,
no.
Yeah. So how would you know when you're going to go into a CBO as opposed to an IUL?
Well, IULs were a lot harder to issue back then. There's a lot more underwriting, blood, urine, all these things. And CBO was simplified issue right there on the spot. It would get approved. So I would lead with that most of the time.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Because I'm big on getting the person approved.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially if there's some health conditions. If you go throw them into full underwriting, there can be an APS. It could take a while, you know?
So I'm constantly pushing with the guys, man. Go, unless you absolutely have to, get the simple issue. Don't do the fully underwritten.
Well, let me tell you this story too. So when I was brand new, got off Stater Brothers, took my apron off, drove to my first appointment. Stater Brothers is a grocery store. And the guy, I write the guy a policy for $100 a month. To me, I'm like, dude, this is like my whole month of working at the grocery store. I'm going to get paid. He calls me to cancel because someone at Primerica offered him a fully underwritten, cheaper price. Okay. So I'm like, okay, we could do fully underwritten too. Immediately I go, we could do fully underwritten too. Now he was on a bunch of medications. So I end up doing fully underwritten. I'm still thinking I'm going to get paid. He does the exam. His blood pressure is like through the freaking roof to where they declined him just from his blood pressure. So I couldn't get him a policy. So I ended up losing my first sale. And so I'm like, okay, maybe it is important to look at placing the right product and not just looking at the price. Because then somebody could end up with no insurance. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I did that. Now, I still didn't learn my lesson because I always learn the hard way. So 1 month I wrote 17 policies and only one policy was on the books at the end of the month because I wrote all based on price, fully underwritten. None of them were getting approved. And then the guy that was training me was like, I wrote 42 and 42 are approved and in place. So I helped 42 people. You helped one. So if you want to keep offering stuff that people can't get approved for just because the price looks good, you're not helping anybody. You're hurting them.
And you're leaving a lot of people on the table you could have helped.
Yeah. So that's huge. All right. So you like Leads for Life.
And so now I'm using a company, and I can't even remember their name right now, but it's IUL Leads.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys are using them. It's $3,000 a month for about 70 leads that are specific that come in live real time. And I've only been doing it for 2 months, but I've ROI'd out about 7 to 1.
Nice.
Yeah.
Integrity Lead Center just launched $20 IUL brand new real time leads too.
Really? I did not know that. Okay, cool.
That's what we're starting all our new guys on, and they're doing really well. So
that's actually a really good price.
That's a good price. Yeah.
Yes.
It's really good. All right. So leads, how many calls do you make a week? So do you use a dialer?
Yeah, I use Kixie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool, man. And let's see. What else? What other questions I have? You're doing everything on Zoom or is it on a phone call?
Phone call. Unless I'm got a really good IUL illustration,
You'll do it on
I'll
Zoom.
set up a Zoom. First one will be on the phone, and then let's go through it on Zoom
Are you on live dials with your team?
all day long, every day.
Okay, so if someone joined your team, they could join your live dials. You would help them.
Mm-hmm. However, we had Jay Masca on our agency call on Friday, and it blew my mind. He's doing 2.4 million a
Yeah.
month so quick, and I said, "How many agents do you got?" And 240. And I go, "How many are on live dial? How many are in live offices?" And
Live offices.
that's right, 240 and 10 of them are on live dial. And
Dude,
I'm
how old is he?
23 years old.
23. That's amazing.
And I just like, Andrew, I'm like, I'm building this all virtual. I got like my whole team's all over the country. And so yes, but I honestly believe that for what we having a live dial all day with breakout rooms, the way that we train them, do launch calls, do every week, every Wednesday we do a an orientation opportunity call with PowerPoint that we drive people to. I personally launch every single agent, but I don't have to talk to them 10 times prior to that point. And then we do the morning kickoff, and we're trying to drive everybody that morning kickoff to know that even if they have another job or they're doing something else, this is where our home is, and they come back. And we've seen since we started doing that almost 3 months ago now, we would have on our live dial maybe 4 to 5 people a day joining the live dial. And now we're seeing through the course of a day, people coming on our live dial between 23 and 30
Nice.
a day that are showing up on the live dial, right?
Nice.
You know, and then these newer agents are having a little bit more credibility in us sooner because they come to those morning kickoffs and they kind of see what's happening and whatnot. And we're doing, and then I also was doing all of them myself at first, kind of probably because I wasn't thinking about it, and I'm a speaker and trainer. And then I said, no, delegation time. So now 15, we rotate it. I have 15 of my agents that it's on a rotating basis. They're responsible for doing that training. So every morning we have a different person doing it.
Love it.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to join your team, how could they reach you?
They would text me directly and I'll set them up with my recruiter. Yeah. It's
What's your number?
408-888-4848.
Okay. And then how important is it for people to go to the national conference coming up?
Oh my Lordy. 1,000 times 1,000%. I mean, I regret I couldn't go last year because my wife was sick, but the believability, I think more than what you're going to learn at the convention, because you're going to have notes and notes and notes and notes and notes.
Mm-hmm.
But like what we started the podcast about today is about people believing in themselves and the confidence in themselves, but looking to your left and looking to your right. People walk away from that convention going, I can do this. And it's not so much the technique they learn. It's the feeling that you get from all the people that are up there telling their stories, and you're able to identify with their stories and go, I can do this.
Yeah.
That's the biggest takeaway. Plus, also being in the speaking business for years, I've spoke to 2 million people in my life at all different events all over the world. And you know, you pay $500,000 to go see Tony Robbins, $15,000.
I
Okay?
I went to the John Maxwell Exchange, I
Yeah.
think 4 years.
Yeah.
That's 15,000.
Me too. Me
Yeah.
too. Okay. And we go to this convention and $100 seats. The first time we're ever having to pay for it. Okay. You could sit in the very, very front. It's $700, but $700 for 4 days. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah. With incredible speakers and agents that are incredible. Jay Masca will be training. He's 23, 270 agents issuing, what did he say? 2 million a month?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm blessed. And you guys should make it you should make it a goal that you're asked to speak at convention. Okay. You should make it a goal. And that was one of my goals, is to be asked to speak at convention. And I'm blessed that Sean asked me this year. And it's set up in a way that if you produce and you show up and you're providing value to other people, then you're going to be asked to speak. And I want to say, if you're asked to speak, show up and speak. That's another thing, because sometimes I ask people to come and speak, and then they don't show up. And this is on our own agency call. Like if someone
Crazy.
crazy. Okay, and so yes, convention is awesome.
Yeah. All right, guys. So first of all, thank you for coming in. Thank you for sharing. Glad you're on the team. We will see you guys at conference. If you want to get in the business, call Gary. He's the man. And thank you for sharing, dude.
Thank you, man.